Welcome, welcome. Let me give it just a minute and let folks have a chance to join. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome in, everyone. It is a beautiful Monday, and we are so excited to have Lisa Stevens from Chase back to present our second session in our Chase for Business collaboration. And so I'm just glad to see everyone coming in. I think we want to be really respectful of everyone's time. So while folks are joining, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and she can start her intro and we can catch anybody up who misses it. We are recording this session. So this will be available to you as a replay after the end of today's presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenny, and welcome everyone. My name is Lisa Stevens. I am a senior business consultant with Chase. I am part of our racial equity commitment group to where we're bringing information, tools, and resources to our business owners. We want to be a part of the message to help you to scale, help you to really understand who you are as a business, and you can make the best of your passion. Again, I look forward to bringing this presentation to you. I know many of us, some of us are new to the digital world, some are kind of in the middle, and many of us are experts. So I am looking forward to myself, along with every single participant, to join in. Together, we will help the others, ourselves and others to succeed. So with that, any areas that I cover, please, in the chat area, add some of your information. I also want to encourage you to add your business, add who you are, your business, and how to best reach you. What do you do best? This is a networking section as well. You know, we're here today to learn about marketing in the digital world, but we're also here to make the best use of our time to get to know one another and know whose businesses we should be helping to grow. So all of my participants, get ready to help me here. As we advance, let's take a look at some of the information and advice, tools, and resources that we will be providing today. With that, let's first talk about e-commerce, right? We have been told that e-commerce, they're projected to rise at about 20% by year 2024. I think with COVID and even post-COVID, I think that number is going to be even a little bit higher. But nonetheless, if we go with the 20%, maybe 30% in the next 3 years, this is a time for transformation. And how we shop and who are the people that we're doing business with, that's changing as well. I know for myself, during COVID, oh my gosh, I think add to cart, click buy was like my favorite steps. I'd wake up in the morning, what's new? I'd go, later on in the evening, what did I miss? So understand that this has become a very new norm for many of us. Yes, we had it before, but I think now even more so, it's really taking this time. So let's look at the opportunity that it presents on our next slide. So I want to share with you, there's many apps and websites that are helping customers and business owners to find each other. Today's session, I actually want us to really expand on your digital marketing skills. What are your skills so that we can take full advantage of today's opportunity? So as we advance, I want us to take a poll. This is something we can add in the chat. Yes, perfect. So have you increased your online businesses since March of 2020? And we all know what March of 2020, right? It was when the world shut down. So in the poll, I'd like for us all to vote yes or no. Have you increased your business or did it stay the same? We'll give it a few minutes, seconds. And if you're not sure, go toward more of where you feel like, well, I'm really not sure, but I don't think it did, or I'm not sure, but I think we did a little bit. So that'll be your yes or your no. Okay, Jenny, I think we're going to close the poll down in a few minutes. Or all right. So I love that. Many of us have increased, so that's great. So now I have 75% of our audience is going to help me to share some of the best practices. And then we have the other portion of the audience that we're going to hopefully support you in utilizing those best practices. Okay, so let's move on. So what we will cover today, I want to share with you a little bit about why we brought this presentation together, how we did a survey and just wanted to find out what are some of the best ways we can utilize your next 60 minutes, 90 minutes with me, that we can make sure that you walk away and we learn something different today, or we're going to do something different, right? So let's talk about how unique your business is, right? We're going to do a brief discussion of branding and marketing strategies. Where are your customers? We need to know, are we knowledgeable and have the insights on the top 3 marketing channels for most businesses: websites, social media, and emails? In part 3, we're going to maximize your online space. Thoughts about how content can build momentum around your online space. We'll move into part 4, where we'll analyze and adjust how to look at information and data to make decisions to adjust the way you approach the online marketing. So I'll be using two screens, the screen we have in front of us and then the workbook. If you haven't downloaded your workbook, please open your workbook. This is going to be a great resource for us as we reference back and forth on the workbook and the presentation. If anyone's having a problem with that, please let us know. Jenny's here to help me today. She's going to make sure that everyone has this workbook to go along. So as we move on, now, we talked about how you show up, how it's important, right? But now we're going to look at the uniqueness of your business, and how you show up is as important as where you show up. Every business has its own flavor, it has its own vibe. You know, what works for me may not work for the business right down the street that's in the same industry, but we want to identify that. We want to identify effective marketing, marketers that embrace the uniqueness and cultivate through their branding and marketing strategies that will work best for you. Remember, no two businesses are the same, even if they sell the same product. Let's identify your flavor, your vibe, and how you will go about making sure that you find your tribe. And this is where I know I need to best market. Okay, because there's so many different platforms. Let's hope to narrow down where you should show up. So as we look to our next slide, let's talk about the branding pieces of it. And again, I should have said this in the beginning, but again, I want you all to help me here, support this next 60 to 90 minutes. If there's a better idea or something you know that's working, add it in the chat. We can all read the chat. We have Jenny standing by. She'll be monitoring our Q&A, but add into the Q&A if you have a question. Add to the chat if you have suggestions or best practices. Together, we will grow. Together, we will be successful. We're stronger together. Okay, so let's talk about branding. Now, branding matters, right? Everything people think and feel about your business is your brand. You want to think about what your brand is today and what it could be in the future, because it's forever changing. It'll never be the same, right? Is your brand working for you? What are you known for, right? Many of us have a logo. Nike has a Just Do It logo. Do you have something that says, yep, this is what I'm known for? The second they see it, the second they hear it, they can identify it with your business. And if you don't, that's part of your branding. We want to make sure that we have a way that the second someone sees us, they know, yep, Just Do It, that's Nike. So I want to encourage you, if not today, let's find that space. And what can you build up or change on the perspective of how people see you? Your digital market depends on having a solid brand to build on. And it never stays the same. It's always changing. It's adding to it. Nike's Just Do It. They just added to it. They never went away from the Let's Do It. Just Do It. But there's so much that happened behind it. I always think about the Got Milk. And then everyone was got this, got that, but it was catchy. But it always took us back to Got Milk. You may say got, sneakers, got plans, got coffee. But it always took us back to what started? Got Milk. So let's think about what type of logo, what type of branding, how can you be unique to where someone can say, I know that product. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's move on. So your brand, right? Your brand is a work in progress. I always say when you're looking at your business, you have to have a growth mindset. We talked about that in our last presentation of having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. As to your brand is a work in progress. You want to make sure that every brand has a story. What are you telling? What is your story? Your story comes from your why, and that's how you build your story. And if you haven't had a course on storytelling, I want to encourage you, maybe on Google, maybe YouTube, find something that talks about storytelling so you can see, how do I present myself, right? Your storytelling is your pitch. 60 seconds, 3 minutes, just have a story. Successful brands resonate with the values and hopes of their customers. Who are your customers? Let's think about them, right? And what are their values? And if their core values align with your product or your services, now you're finding your tribe, right? Because it's all about finding your tribe, your flavor, your vibe. Think about the stories you love. What's a product that you purchased? Like, oh my God, I love the story behind them. Have someone fall in love with you. Have your story and a character, you build character around your story. And in your story, have them go on a quest. Have them go on a journey with you, right? And just want to know, what's that next step? That's that element of surprise, the element of keeping things going. But what you think about your brand is how you'll build your character, and when you're building your character, you're building your tribe, you're building your followers. So always understand your brand is a work in progress, because the world is forever changing. We didn't see COVID coming, right? But many of us had to pivot, and we had to pivot very quickly. Some of us were able to stay the same. So just remember, your brand is a story and it's forever changing. So as we move on, I want you all to look at your worksheet. And I believe, let me go to mine. I want to say the worksheet is on page 6. It's on page 6 of me. I hope it's on page 6 for you as well. Check your workbook. And here's where I want you to think about your brand and the personality. This is an exercise that we can have that opportunity to clarify, but what I'd like you to add in your chat, whose brand is classic? That's one of the options. Is it matured? Is it a serious brand? Literal, precise? Look it in your workbook, mainstream, established. Who are you in your business? And if we can add that to the chat, just so we can understand the audience we're with today. Take a few seconds and add that in the chat. Jenny, you're with me on the chat, right? And I want to encourage you, go back.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Go back and forth with the chat so you can read who's right, who's typing what, find out if there's some best practices, who's in the audience, who's our neighbor. And this work is going to be a great resource for you. Please, I just want you to understand that this is something that was well put together, and it can really guide you and help you to strategically plan around how you show up. So as we move on, I want to encourage you to keep working on your brand. Why? Your brand is everything. You'll find additional exercises in your next business, building a foundation that lasts. And also on this website, I wish there was a way to cut and paste it into the chat, but I don't think it's a possibility. But if you have a moment, write this down, chase.com/business/next-level-biz. Great information. Okay. And Jenny, maybe we can add that to the chat, just so they can have that as a backup. And while she's adding that to the chat, we will talk about having a strategy. Are you able to cut and paste it, maybe? Okay, so let's talk about having a strategy. And having a strategy, there's 7 Ps, right? And every time, this always cracks me up, because you have that commercial on TV about the PPPs. Well, these are our 7 Ps that are really helping businesses to push forward. The first one is the product. You want to solve a problem for your customers. And that's the first question you want to say. Does my product solve a problem? And if it doesn't, we have to kind of maybe take a look at that, because people will buy things that's going to make life better for them. But in addition to adding a solution to my problem, is the price right? If the price is too high, I'm probably not going to look on your site, right? But if it's too low, now you really haven't priced yourself to stay in business. We want to make sure that you're looking at your pricing, comparing it to your competitors, knowing your margins, and maybe your price may be a little bit higher than your counterpart. And the reason is because my product is different, it's packaged different. It could be a numerous reasons, but justify that when you put your price tag on. Kind of share why. What is the uniqueness about my product? Is it organic? What makes my price point a little bit different from the next person? And then your promotions. You want to get creative to get your product noticed, right? You want to make sure that you're either using on the website something that's colorful or something that, and again, it has to cater to your product. What is it that can really make a person look? Do I need to add like stories? One of the things that I have a business owner of mine, she has a hair product. And I said to her, one of the most annoying things for me is when I purchase a bottle of shampoo and I can barely read the instructions, and we want to know we're doing it right. So what I suggested to her is, because we all have QR codes, right? So on her shampoo bottle now there's a QR code. And if you scan the QR code, all the instructions come up, all the ingredients come up. So now it makes it so much easier. And she's added that to her website, and people comment, this is great. I love it. I love it. I love it. Why? Because we want to see things. We want to know we're using it correct. But I also understand she's got but this much room to print all the information she needs. So become creative, find those ways that's going to make people say, yep, I love what she's doing. And it's making your business is being noticed. You want to look at placement to number 4. Where your business or product is located matters. If you're selling ice cream and you're in an area that there's not a lot of traffic, or maybe you'll get 1 or 2 people to notice you, you're not in the right location. You want to make sure that if I'm selling ice cream, I'm at the beach, I'm somewhere hot, I'm at an amusement park, I'm somewhere where people will want it. Although they say ice cream is purchased all year long, but the idea is to make sure that you're positioning yourself where people will see you. You're at the right place. Starbucks is strategic with that. They know exactly what a place, they know where a drive-through is needed, where an office space is needed. So make sure you're in a place where people will notice your business. And then we want to look at people, right? Number 5 is a very important piece. Outstanding customer service and real relationships matter. I tell clients all the time, if you decide to bank with Chase, I want you to bank with us as a relationship. Don't be transactional. Have a relationship. As to with your business, if you have people coming to your site, acknowledge them. Maybe through a happy birthday, maybe through thank you for supporting the business. Come celebrate. People want to know that they matter. You want to say thank you for your purchase, and don't be afraid for feedback. Find out what could I've done better, right? That's a huge piece that will help you to grow. Then you want to look at your process. You want to get your product out there quickly and efficiently. The worst thing is for someone to order a product from you and then they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting, right? As quickly as you get paid for the product, you want to get it back into the person that ordered your product. You want to get it back to them as fast as you can, because their experience is going to be a walking billboard for you, a talking billboard. They're going to tell a friend, great process. Oh my God, I love it. I received it within whatever time. You want to exceed expectations. And then your physical experience, your packaging, your lighting, your smell, every detail matters. When I unbox your product, what did I feel from it? Did I feel like, oh my God, I paid this much money for this? Or do I feel like this is amazing? I love the packaging. Now what? I want to share it, or I want to gift it. So now I'm a customer that's going to come back versus a customer that's, this wasn't really that good. Now, how do you know that? If what your physical experience is like, send it to a few friends and send different ideas, right? And just see what's the feedback. Another thing I'd like to share is always send the package that you're sending, send it to someone that can send it right back to you. So your package will be inside of a box. You'll send it to that person. They'll open it and send it right back to you. Then you'll be able to see, how was it in transition? Did it really deliver what I wanted to deliver? Because these 7 P's are really, really important on how you strategically hit the market. So as we move on, I know I spent a little time there, but I really feel like that's an important piece for us to gather. And in your workbook on page 8 and 9, this is actually going to help you to understand a little bit more about what we were just talking about. And as I shift to page 8, what are your customers thinking? It'll go through a few questions. I think it's about maybe 10 questions. And then as you go further into page 9, empathize with your customers and find out what you need to know. Take the time to do this work with this exercise. Not today, but not right now, but you'll definitely do that after the call or, throughout the week. But this is important. It'll tell you who are your customers, what do they need to do, what do they need to see, what do they like to do, what are they saying about you, and just really be honest with yourself here. And maybe you can even talk to someone that's in your circle and say, hey, do this worksheet with me. let's really find out, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm showing up the way I want to show up, and it's going to help grow the business. So as we move on, let's chat a little bit. Now, what are your number one priorities for strengthening your brand? Help us with some ideas. I'm new here, right? Be a neighbor to me and tell me, what are some of your priorities for strengthening your brand? Will you come up with a logo? Maybe change your website, add a little bit of a chat, maybe a QR code. Help give us all ideas in the chat. I'd like us all to participate. We're here together. Let's think about, how would I show up that's going to help to strengthen my brand? Let's take a few minutes. See who's that brave soul to help us to say, well, here's what I'm going to do. This is my number one priority for strengthening my brand. Remember, we're doing this presentation together. This is not all Lisa. I really feel like every one of us, we have different experiences. Let's share those experiences. So, we're each other's keeper. We're going to help one another to grow. Okay, I hope you're sharing in the chat. So let's move on as we get to part two. And the next part of this presentation, we will talk about where your customers are. We'll look at some of the websites that are promising practices that will help, how to choose a social media platform. There'll be some homework, as always, what social media success tips that you can apply to your platform. Email, never forget the importance of email. I know many of us are thinking that email really doesn't matter, but it does. It's one of the number one. We'll talk about that. And then look at some of the online marketing channels of where you can possibly best show up and what you'll think you'll do over the next 12 months. Because again, remember, this is that growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm staying relevant? So as we go to the next slide, let's start digging deep into the website, which is your online hub. Think of your website as your center, as the center of your digital marketing strategy. And if you're on the call and you don't have a website, that's okay, right? But here are some of the tools when you start to build your website. You can say, okay, I want to make sure I'm doing this. And if you have a website, let's look at some of these tools that can maybe help you to strategically have your website to really be meaningful for you. Okay, so some of the social media emails, promotional tags, we'll talk a little bit about that. And in the chat, add to it, show us some of the things that are working for you. Or if you have a question, please make sure to utilize the Q&A. So as we move on, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, why is your website so important? Why not just use your Facebook? Why do I need a website, right? Let's talk about Google. People search Google 5.6 billion times per day. That to me is a number that's just, I can't even fathom it, but it's true. And you know why? Because I'm part of that. And I know for almost everything, I'm on Google, I'm on Google, I'm on Google. So how you show up on Google is really going to matter. Nothing wrong with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those other platforms. Great. I hope you're showing up if they help, but make sure that you understand the power of Google. Why do I say that? Because we're going to discuss why you want to make sure that you show up when someone does a Google search. You want to make sure that your company is one of the first companies that show up. There's actually a work in your workbook on the next slide. You'll see that there is a workbook that talks about where your customers are in the workbook. And here you have 10 areas where you can kind of look at, let's see if I can get there too, your value proposition, why it should appear on your website. And it kind of goes through on page 10 and 11. It talks about your up-to-date information, how to streamline. All of this is going to be valuable as you're putting your website together. And again, if you already have a website, great. I'm so happy you have a website. Just make sure you go through these 1 through 10. Is there anything I can do on my website to improve the user-friendly when people visit my website? So let's move on. Okay, and let's talk about, we went one slide too many. I know I mentioned all of this, and again, it is on your work page 10 and 11. But the first one is the value proposition. Right away, you want to let your customers know what you're about and how you will be there to service them. That is your first thing you want to make sure your value proposition is on there. Your address, your contact information, and hours of operation. This to me is very important. I won't do business with a company that I can't connect with. To me, that is one of the most annoying thing that if I have a question and there's not a chat feature or someone that I know there's a live person I can call and say, hey, I want to order this, but I want to make sure that I'm ordering the right product, the right size, the right amount, or just a chat, something. But you have to make sure that your address is up to date because people want to know that you're a physical person. They want to know that they can reach you and your hours of operation. Always keep that up to date. The worst thing to do is to have a contact number and I call and it's not working. Now I think you're fraudulent and I'm going to hang up. So your up-to-date information is very, very important. You want to streamline the navigation. You want to help your customers to find what they need quickly, right? The worst thing I think is when you have a website and I'm searching for something, but everything else is popping up. Be very clear. Let people find what they're looking for. Ease of doing business. That's what's so important. Ease of doing business. And most important, well, I shouldn't say most important, but more information about you is also always nice. I love testimonies. I love people to come on and know that, why this product exists, what was my experience. And that just kind of talks about who you are as a human, as an individual. And people like to do business with people they can relate to. And as we move on, you look at how you want to make sure that it's mobile friendly. Understand that the way your website shows up online will not be the same on a mobile because there's a big difference in the screen. There's a big difference in how you navigate. So when you test out your website, make sure that the mobile section, and most of those websites will say, click here for mobile view. Make sure the mobile friendly, how I can check out, how I can add payments. Do I feel secure? Just put yourself in the seat of the customer that's visiting your site and make sure that you're addressing some of the things that are concerned for you. Your accessibility compliance, that's one of the number one things that we have found that many businesses are not doing, and you can be fined. So make sure that your website is for everyone by following, I think it's called it's the W3Cs. And Google that W3Cs, which is your accessibility standards to make sure your site have that. Now, what I will say is most of those sites automatically drop those, if you have a need for different ways to contact us, here are some of the ways. So most of the websites will automatically drop that, but just want to make sure that you're in compliance. You want to have images of people or images of the product. We all like to look at people because we can see ourselves in these people. And a lot of people use their pets. My dogs are 14 and 15, and they show it, but I still think they're the cutest thing, and I'll always use them. Testimonials, as we mentioned earlier. This is huge. I'm one of those people that will go through and see, when you have those 5 stars, I go right to the 1 star first. I want to know, what does this person think that? Because I don't know if that's important to me, but then I'll go to the 3, then I'll go to the 5. So testimonies are always nice because it helps me to say, oh, wow, that's a problem I had too. So great, this product works for me. And then the shoppable experience. Whether you sell a product or a service, you want to make sure that it's easy to see what you offer and how a person can take the next steps to connect with you for your product. So that's just a few of the ways. And I do believe that that's also in your workbook to kind of break that down and help you to understand why these, few key areas are important to you. So now as we move on, let's look at your website building tools. I love that this is already in the workbook, so we don't have to go detailed step by step, but you have Squarespace, you have WordPress, Shopify, Wix. There's so many different website building tools. Find the one that's easiest for you. And I always tell business owners, try before you buy it. They'll let you go in and play with it. Is this user friendly? Oh gosh, I don't even know what the heck they're talking about. Move to the next. But find that site that you feel like, if I can't afford for someone to professionally manage it for me, is it user friendly for me? Because if it's not, you're not going to use it. So now you've paid, the fee for the site. You'll be able to use it. So user friendly, check them out, try it before you buy it, and see which one works best for you. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a detail on page 12. You can actually read about what does Squarespace offer, what is Wix, and just learn a little bit more about these companies. Okay, so as we move on, you want to look at your social media, right? Keeping it real with your customers. What's important is that you are there for your customers and they can feel that. Although you can't be everywhere on every social media platform, but are you where your customers matter? If I am a frequent user of Facebook and your product is geared toward that age, that generation, and you're on social media, well, I don't really matter to you because your website told me, oh, go. These are all the postings on Instagram. So find out where are my customers. So let's move on. Let's go a little bit deeper into a poll. And I'm curious on this one. So we recently added TikTok. What social media platforms does your business currently use? And if it's multiple ones, okay, great, but find the one that you most use. And I'm curious to see where we are. So let's take maybe a 60-second. And I'm not sure if you can hear this tip tapping in the background. As I share with you, I have 3 dogs while you're doing a survey, and I have one that has dementia, one has Alzheimer's, one is blind and deaf. I didn't even know that happens with dogs. These are probably the oldest dogs I've ever had, but he's trying to find his way here. So to give all the tip tapping. Okay, Jenny, do we have the poll? We'll close it down in about 5 seconds. Make sure you make a selection. Wow. Now, is this surprising to most of you? I was very, 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 very surprised to know that so many people have migrated to TikTok. I understand why, because that's that instant gratification. It's short and it's sweet. But if that's where your customers are, you want to make sure you're there. Facebook, Instagram, I think they'll always be like that number 1 and 2. LinkedIn is getting very, very popular, even for employment reasons. People are looking on LinkedIn. YouTube, I think YouTube will never fade away. It's not only a place that you can upload videos, but you can really talk to your customers. So that's great. Pinterest. I have noticed Pinterest is starting to not be as high on the bar, but nonetheless, if your customers are there, make sure you understand what is Pinterest, what's the best way to use it, and can it connect to another social media, how Facebook and Instagram connect? Can this also connect? So we can close the poll. Thank you for your participation. I appreciate it. So let's move on. And we want to find out how to choose a social media platform. So there's a few questions you would like to kind of have that moment with yourself to sit down and say, okay, I really need to think this through. And I also believe there's a page as we move further in our workbook as well. But ask yourself a question to understand the strategies and advantages of different social media platforms. What do your customers do online, right? What time are they online? What reinforces your brand image? Which platforms can help you meet your business goals? Because not all of them are the same. Some are hard to advertise on. Some are just too cluttered. That is really not for me. What gets people excited? Right? Is it when I come on live or when I show a product before and after? What's getting people excited? What platform are my competitors on? That's something you really want to know. Because if they're all showing up on one platform and they're successful, yeah, we kind of want to move over to that platform as well. And how much time will each platform require? Because that's another thing. If it's taking too much of your time, then it's not a benefit to you. So you have to make sure that, okay, I can get in and I can do this quickly. But most important, you gotta have fun. You're not having fun with it, you're not going to do it. And that's with anything and everything in life. So make sure the platform is fun and not intimidating, because they can be. Trust me, I had to get my niece to kind of give me some groundwork on Instagram because it started changing on me, right? But I got to move with the time. And you also have to know when to post. That's important to you. So let's identify which social media platform works for you. What are your customers looking for? And then from there, we'll branch on and see what's our next step, right? I also want to encourage you, don't fall in love with one platform. As we've shown, how many people are on TikTok? But did you start at TikTok? You may have started on Facebook, you may have started on Instagram, but now you're on TikTok. And that's that growth mindset. moving with the times, moving with your business. So yes, as much as we like to fall in love, you can't, you kind of got to just kind of fall in like, and you can always dislike them, but continue to like others as well. So in your workbook, I think we're on page 15 of your workbook. There's some homework that I'd love for you to take the time and sit and find out what's the right social media app for you. This is on page 28 of we're on page 28 of the slide, but the workbook, I believe, is on page 15. Here's what I like about this homework. Well, they call it homework. I'm just going to call it a worksheet. It's actually listing Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, and then it has who are they? And it talks about the age, the demographic. It talks about why do customers come here? And you're like, oh, okay, so maybe that one is for me. So go through, I think this is one of the greatest pages in this. I think they're all great, but I love this because it also talks about how can you build on an audience? Oh, this one you have to pay to boost. Well, I don't have funds for that right now, or I do, or I can jump right into. So find out which of these social media apps work best for you by just going along with this exercise. I think it's great, and I think it's informative, and you'll come to identify a little bit more about who you are as a business and how you show up. So as we move on, we'll talk about how to be successful on social media. So just maybe in the chat, if someone is brave enough to share, how do you think you can be successful on social media, right? I know getting on the right platforms is one of the best starts. We have to make sure we're on the right platform, right? We want to know who our customers are and where they are. I know another way to be successful is to create a calendar. We get so busy in our day-to-day that we need to have a reminder to make sure that we're putting out the content that can help you drive your business. Make sure you put time. If you have an hour block on your calendar, this is your hour block, but you have to stay committed to that. Another thing is I think you have to experiment with timing and frequency. If you're posting at 8 o'clock every day, you really haven't tried out what 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock can do for you. And how I know this to be true is my niece again, right? She's a big part of my life. She has a certain time that she has to post on Instagram. And I thought she was insane. We went to the Hollywood sign. It was her first time coming. And this was, a couple of years ago. And I was about to post. And she's like, knocked the phone on my head. No, I'm Lisa, don't post right now. And I'm saying, why not? It's beautiful. I want to post it. You're not going to get as many likes. And for me, I thought she was insane. But I thought about that and I was like, that's the same for businesses. If I'm posting at a time where businesses aren't on, my customers are not on, it was not the right time to post. So you want to make sure you experiment with timing and see where you're getting most of your traction. I always want to encourage you to be yourself. Be yourself. People know when you're authentic. They know when you're showing up as someone else. So when you're yourself, people can relate to you. They want to be a part of you. Another thing is amplify your community. I think that is one of the best ways to show you can give back to your community. And what is it costing you? It's costing you love. It's costing you time. It's costing you energy. You're amplifying your community. Shout out to your neighbors. If you're next to a store, shout out if it's an ice cream place. I must love ice cream because I think I use ice cream all the time. But shout out that, ABC Ice Cream has the best chocolate ice cream. Stop by. Guess what? When they stop by that ice cream, you're right next door. So always, and it's not always about trying to earn business, but it's about showing your neighborhood that you are part of the community. So amplify your community, amplify groups, build on a goodwill. Maybe you can have something to where it could be the holidays and you build it on a goodwill, maybe a fundraiser, something that you can do to show your neighborhood that you care. If the neighborhood is having some kind of event, post it on your site. There's an ice skating ring, a roller skating ring, a snowball contest. I'm not sure. Well, I'm from New York, so there's where the ice skating came from. But I'm here in California. But post on your site what's happening in the neighborhood. Not only will it bring attention to you, but it shows your community that you care about the community and you want to amplify what's going on so that we can continue to build for one another. So as we move on and we continue to talk about other ways that we can be successful on social media, you want to give more than you take. That's that golden rule, right? Give more than you take. I always believe you cannot outgive the getting. The more you give, the more you'll get, right? That's that mentality that I grew up with. You can't always be selling to folks. They don't always want to just know you want. That gimme mentality really takes people, away from you. Just think about in your personal life. If you're surrounding yourself around people that are always looking for you to gimme, you really don't want to be with them, right? But if you're in that area to where you're giving and you're getting, and it's that reciprocation between the two, you give, you get, you give, you get, then it's a better relationship. Ask your customers to follow you. I think that is a great way to be successful, right? The more followers you have, it actually tells some people, not that I think that this is true, but it's just the mindset we're in. There used to be a time people were buying, followers that look like they have so many, but it actually tells people that you have some kind of relevance. What's going on here? I want to follow. I want to see what's going on. My Instagram was private until recently, maybe about a week and a half ago. And I kept it that way until one of my colleagues said, well, people can't follow you. How do they know that you're putting out good information? And it didn't dawn on me. So she's absolutely right. The more people that follow you, the more information you can give out. You know the rule, right? You know the drill. But be memorable. I think that's key. Put something that someone can remember. It could be something useful, something funny. You'll figure out what your space you want to be into, to where people can't wait to see the next thing. They can't wait to see what's going on. So that's some of the key things on being successful on social media. Now you say to yourself, okay, I want to be successful, but everyone tells me that you have to pay for impressions. And as we move forward, you're absolutely right. But the question is, should you pay for them? And it's unfortunate, but if you don't, it's really hard to get noticed. It used to be a time where you could just kind of get anything and everything, but now it's like you have to pay. But here's the thing that I have found. You can get these impressions fairly cheap. Someone told me that Facebook, I think it's about $7 per 1,000 impressions. I don't really know what the cost is, but I have been told that they're very inexpensive. Find out which platform will offer you the most bang for your buck, right? And if it doesn't, it's not for you. You don't want to pay this astronomical amounts where now, yeah, I have all these impressions, but now I have no margins. So just find out who's your best partner. And yes, you will have to pay for those impressions, unfortunately. But here's another way. And as we move forward, so let's just say I can't really get all the impressions that I like. Never underestimate emails. We look at emails. I still look at emails. I wake up in the morning and I scroll through it. Oh, yep, they're having a sale, and I click, right? So emails are still powerful. Social media is big, but emails is that piece that you can rest assured we're going to look at our email. Now, we get a lot of emails. So I want to also caution you as we move forward, how do I show up for those emails? And it says that 46% of our customers still believe that emails is the best channel. And I agree with them. I really do. I look for those stores that I frequently use to see what's going on. I look for those businesses that have it at 10, 15% off. And 10% is really not a big saving. But for me, it is. And I want the 10%. I want the 15 or the 20, whatever that number may be. So utilize emails. If you can't do the impressions, you still have the emails. If you can do both, you double down and you grow the business that much faster. So let's talk about some of the email strategies, right? As we move forward, you yourself receive emails. I want you to really put yourself, as we talk about these next steps, in the seat as the receiver. And that's how you're going to be able to determine, am I doing too much, too little, or just enough, right? Like the 3 little bears, you have them all. The bed was too hard, too soft, and just right. You want to be that just right. So you want to focus on your opening. That's going to be huge. How do I get you to click on my email to open up, right? A compelling subject line. Anything that's going to make me say, oh, I want to know more. What did that just say? Yep, I want to read that. It made me pull in. A compelling subject line is your biggest driver for them opening your email. You want to develop a call to action. What does that mean? right? What do you want your customers to do after they open your email? There's your call to action. Personalize your email. I really like when it says Lisa, and I know it's just a software, but I see my name, right? And I have one person then, and it says, "Good morning, sunshine. I know your name is Lisa, but you're the sunshine of the day." And I thought that was just so cute, right? So some of these little things that you can personalize the message that will make people gravitate toward you. And then you have that FOMO, that fear of missing out. It happens to me all the time because I know there's this one place I frequently buy and they'll put on that 1-day sale. And so I'm always looking. In fact, I'll go on the subject line and type their name and just to see if something came up. So, but you can create that fear of missing out by maybe having that 1-day sale. And you can't have a 1-day sale today and then 2 days later you have that same 1-day sale. There's no fear of missing out because I know you're coming right back with it. But a fear of missing out can be something that you create and a person can't wait to see it. Uggs is popular for that. They created these 12-month slippers or sneakers maybe. I couldn't wait for the month of May because that was the month I was born. And they didn't do it in order. It wasn't like January, February, March. You just didn't know which month was next, right? Couldn't wait. Every day I Google, I find it. I didn't purchase it because I was like, ugh, that represents May. But they gave me that fear of missing out. So figure out what can I do to make sure my customers are looking for me in the subject line, right? So that's a few. Let's talk about it a little bit more as we move forward. Let's talk about your email marketing systems. And here are a few that, you're very familiar with them. But you can send emails to your customer list, right? And many of these will help you to personalize. Many of them are out there. We do not endorse these 5 that are up here. They were just the first 5 that we felt a lot of customers are using. These may not be the best for you, and that's okay. Find the one that is for you. This is just a few suggestions just to help you get a little bit more familiar with some of the, and I think it's in your workbook where it kind of breaks down So each one of the suggested 5, and that's on page 20 of your workbook. It talks about the benefits of MailChimp, HubSpot. But again, find the one that works best for you. So let's move forward. Let's talk about the email lead capture strategies, right? Let's talk about those pop-ups. What are pop-ups? They're quick messages that pop up when people visit your site. They can be effective or they can kind of be distracting. So you want to make sure that if that pops up, it's something that's a benefit to me. I know a lot of us instantly will pop up, add your email, 10% off. The verdict is still out on that one. Some say it's annoying. They want to first see if you even have the product they want. Some say, yeah, it's a great way. It's a great way to market, but what's your end goal, right? Do pop-ups, ask yourself, do pop-ups make you just exit out and say, I just wanted to see if you had the product? Or did it make you sign up? Because your customers really reflect you. And your product is for the customers that think very similar to you. So figure out what are your pop-ups and how do you want them to appear. Do you have any giveaways? Can you once a month or once a quarter have some sort of I know Instagram is popular for this. They have where they spin all of your followers and then it selects a person and that person wins. Not saying that that's the best way, but figure out, can I have a giveaway in exchange for something? Like, again, there's that email. If you give me an email, you get 10-15% off. That's one way. But when, you got to know when to have that pop up. Think about followers. If you follow me, you get 10%. Like, figure out what is that give take, right? And it's not always just follow me, but what am I willing to give up? And let's look at your social media promotions. Remember when I talked about how, we're always looking for promotions? Maybe your email could be a way as a promotion. Maybe as you gather these emails, use those for your promotions. Find out, is this the best way? Are people receptive? Again, sit yourself in the seat as the receiver of the email and say, yep, I like this, or no, I don't. You want to be able to opt in at purchase, right? Include what do you call those? The little check boxes where people can say, yes, I want to know more. No, I don't want to know more. Because that tells me you respect me. That means that you're saying to me, okay, I'm not going to oversaturate you with emails because you told me you only want to know about sales. That's a nice way. I don't know if your product or your service can utilize that, but there's something that you can use as an option. Then let's look at your tools and resources. If you have valuable tools or resources that you can offer for free, especially a service, right? You can always, or even your product, tip of the day. Add a tip of the day. Not only did I satisfy the fear of missing out, but a tip of the day tells people that I care. I'm giving you a tip of the day. And again, find out what works best for you. Contests, people love contests. That's a win-win. You get a chance to give away great prizes, but you get to drive more folks to your site through your email. Right, so let's look at a few more. So I'm going to kind of give you, I'm going to oversaturate you with suggestions, and then you'll pick out the few that works best for you, with strategies to help you to build on your brand. We talk about segment and target your audience. Targeting your message to a specific audience ensures that the recipient, right, you're the recipients, right, will be more likely to pay attention, because the worst thing is for you to sit there and you type up this long email or short email or add pictures and it's just delete, delete, delete. So you want to make it valuable, focus on what your customers want. Otherwise, again, delete, 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 delete. What am I saying that's going to make a person open my emails? Develop a cadence. If it's once a week, once a month, come through around the same time of the day. They know that every first of the month. I should look forward to an email. Find out what that cadence is that's going to work best for you. And again, that timing matters, because my niece made it very clear. You are not posting that picture right now. We won't get any likes. And sure enough, the time she told me to post, it was probably the most liked featured picture on my site. And I was like, seriously? But it's the way the world is moving, and we have to move with it. There she turned on my growth mindset. And again, that was just for a personal Instagram. So imagine that much more as a business. So let's move on. Let's talk about how else can you market your business online. Lots of different ways. And what we have here is just a small bucket of suggestions. In the chat, add some information. Help us out. Help us to know what's not on this list that you're doing. You want to review sites, right? And some of the sites that I know were popular. We mentioned Google. I think even Angie, she updated her, it used to be Angie's List. Now I think it's just Angie. I'm sure someone said to her, hey, let's change the name. It's going to bring a new audience. Find out which sites that you want to review, and which platform. Digital ads. I really like the digital ads. They could be local, they could be industry specific. But you want to get noticed right away. So find those digital ads. Remember, I mentioned the videos. I really think those are great ways to communicate. And that QR code is just probably one of the genius's ideas to put on your bottle, your labeling, your message, something that a person can, click the QR code, it pops up on their phone. They can even share it if they wanted to share it, or just learn more about it. You're texting. I think every app now, or every product I use now has a texting option. Some, are a bit much for me. So I type stop and I don't listen. Some I just mute because they text all the time, but I still want to know what's going on. And some I can't wait to get. So when you text, make sure that you're not just texting all day long and every single day. Be relevant in the message, because again, sit yourself in the receiving and see what you and how you feel when you're getting all these texts. Does it feel good? Do I want more? Do I want less? Those are your customers. You want to deliver apps, your delivery apps, monitoring and managing to make sure that your business shows up in the way you want it to show up. I know Amazon is one that's really popular. It's one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the US. That may be a way. I know there's so many other different ways businesses showing up online. I'm trying to think of the other one. I think it's Etsy. There's just so many, right? So the thing I'd like to find out, as we move forward is in the chat box, share with us, because I know, again, this is what, maybe 6 that we listed there. What are some of the best ways for you? So as we move forward, we'll have another, kind of chat. Which digital marketing space offers your business the biggest opportunity over the next 12 months? If it's what you're doing, great. If it's something else, you're like, I'm going to try something else. Share with the group. And if you say Facebook, now I said, maybe I should look into Facebook. You say TikTok, and I know I've never used it, then you've just given me the idea that maybe I should go into TikTok. So share your answer. Let us understand where most people are going. Because if I see 4 people said TikTok and 2 people said Facebook, and now I want to know what's going on in TikTok. Let's be each other's growth. Let's help one another to really scale our business. Okay. I hope you all are adding in the chat. Jenny's monitoring it for us. So I got my fingers crossed that we are helping each other grow. We've created this business hood, sisterhood, brotherhood, that where we can all just kind of make sure that we are helping one another. So as we move forward, we're up to part 3. I think we're doing good on time. I hope so. If not, we'll speed up a little bit. But I think we got the meat and potatoes of this presentation. So now we'll talk about maximizing your online space. And this section will talk about your CEO tips. We have some homework for you to do, automation tips, multi-channel marketing, just a few things that, and we'll have some time to chat and talk about, what's working for you. So as we move forward, let's look at a holistic approach that can save time and money while improving results. Okay, so some of the key points here, you don't want to, how do I say this? You don't want something you put a lot of time in and work in to just disappear. So let's try to really hone in on what we know will start to work for you as you move forward. So as we go to the next slide, let's talk about the CEOs, right? The CEO stands for your search engine optimization. It's about marketing to make sure that your website shows up near or top of that search result. If my business is on Google, the odds of being on page 3 and someone going to page 3 is slim to none. We usually look at that first 1 and 2 pages. So we're going to make sure that we're using the right keywords. That's critical. The use of the keywords or phrases from your website that are on Google that you'll start to show up early on. You want to make sure that you figure out how to get to other websites to link to your site. If you're on Google and sometimes you can click Google and it goes right to the site. Great. Not sure of the cost or the process, but make sure whoever's helping you with the website understand that you want to show up in that early part of Google. And I think on your, now I don't think, let me double check. I want to say on page 24 of your workbook. Before 24, you've got great information throughout, but I'm jumping over a little bit. But on page 24 of your workbook, it talks about what is CEO, how to be found online, and just go through and say, do I have these keywords? Like, am I doing what I need to do? Because if you're paying for impressions, or if you're paying for a certain space, make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. So pay attention to page 24 and it'll help give you a lot of key areas. So as we move on, you want to make sure that your SEO, your SEO jumpstart, again, that's on page 26. Scrolling down, 26 and 27. It has like a little work area to where you can write down any words or phrases that will describe your product and your products and or service. Make sure that those keywords are great words. How do you test it, right? Put those same words back in Google and see what comes up. Are those your industries? Are those the type of businesses that really describe you? Check. If not, draw a line through it. Okay? So utilize page 26, page 27 of your workbook to help you to maximize your SEO. So as we move forward, let's talk about the automation piece of this. Your automation piece, again, that's also page 28 of the workbook, but let's just kind of give a small, a brief overview. Your automated messages can help you stay connected with your customers without taking a lot of their time, which I like. Automated messages can go out as emails, it can go out as tags, messages. It could be on your social media as a post. So many ways that you can automate this process so that what are you doing? You're working smarter and not harder. You typically need a CRM system or other database to help track the customer information. But that too, as you integrate as you create your website, you'll learn to integrate some of the tools that you need to make sure that you automate your system is automated to best help you. What are some of the things that I like? I love when you celebrate occasions, happy birthday, If they're 1 year anniversary of a customer, happy 1 year with me. Thanks for going on this journey. You can have your drip campaign, and I use that word drip with every intent of the word drip. You don't want to drench your customers, because when you drench them, what do you do when you're drenched? You get away from it, you get out of it, right? You're taking all that heaviness and wetness off. But when you're dripped on, you can dry off a little bit, right? And I use that analogy because no one wants to be drenched, and I'm okay to be dripped on. Make sure that you're not giving too much too soon. I'm only going to delete it. Put yourself in the driver's seat. Would I want this much information? Sometimes we think, oh, let me just get it out. Stay in front of them. Stay in front of them. You're actually standing in front of the unsubscribe, or move to I guess junk mail or trash mail. So drip is very important. Build an interest in your business through not too many messages, but the needed messages. Let's look at some more as we go forward. I like to talk about your multi-channel channel marketing, which is an effective marketing strategy that takes advantages of the opportunity to use marketing content, again, to reach a new audience, stay connected to your current audience in different ways. So that's one. We want to look at examples of how you can think about the content across multiple marketing spaces, because if you have one piece of content, but you can use it across, great, right? I'm saving time, but I'm reaching my customers. I think they mentioned blog here, right? Use the lead capture, blog. I don't know much about blog to speak on it, but if it works for you, make sure that you're using a blog. Make sure you're using anything that can help you. And again, only you know your business and you know it so well. Just make sure you're doing the things that you need to do to reach the audience you need to reach the best way possible, because there's so much competition. But I also believe there's space for you if you use the right tools on social media. So let's move forward. All right, and let's talk about how can we do some of those things, right? This one says, people tag me on Instagram all the time. They say the restaurants will close, but I make my own Luzanne wings. Not only did he get a tag, not only did he get noticed, but what else happened? I want to know what Luzanne wings are, right? So he made it very relevant. And inside your workbook, we don't have time today to go through, but it talks about on page 29, I believe, of your workbook. It talks about this whole story and how, with us being cooped up for about a year, and how the Luzanne wings and the sauce and how he connected on Instagram, how people tagged him. That was being creative. That was pivoting, thinking outside the box. Read these stories, because they may be stories that are similar to what you're doing, or the path you've had to take, and maybe to help to inspire, or just kind of help you to know that you too have a story to be told. Okay, so as we move forward, we have a little bit of a chat. Again, I told you this was us. We were going to bring this together and make sure that we're sharing ideas. And what are some of the ideas for how to market across multiple spaces? I didn't even know, and I guess I'm dating myself, I didn't know that Instagram and Facebook were almost one and the same. So I'm posting on Instagram. Now, this was a while ago. I have come up a little bit better. I'm a little bit good. I'm better today. And then I go on Facebook and I'm like, how'd they get there, right? I'm like, I don't know, putting in there. Or sometimes I would double down and I'll put the same message twice. Does someone have some great ideas that you can share with the group of how I can market across multiple spaces? Add it in the chat. Let's start to share some of those if someone has some great ideas. Someone said, yes, how does Be Real work? I downloaded it, but haven't opened it yet. Does anyone know how Be Real works? Oh, well, okay, there's someone from BTFS that says, what is Be Real? Jasmine, can you come and share with us? You said TikTok and Be Real. Will you share with us, Jasmine?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hold on. For Be Real, just in your app, go ahead and open it up if you downloaded it. Go ahead and like set yourself up, because the only way that you can actually use it is if you post a Be Real for the day. So the main objective is just that you're posting, and it uses your front and your back camera too. So don't be alarmed when that comes out. But then you can't check your feed unless you've posted. So it's supposed to alert you. You have 2 minutes to post your Be Real. But then if for whatever reason, if you miss it, you can post late. It'll just alert everybody that you posted late, and that's all.
Now, will it go across multiple spaces? Like how would I be able to cross market Be Real?
It goes to Be Real, and then if you want to, it gives you an option to share. So like you can share that Be Real photo over to like Instagram stories or something like that with like your link to Be Real.
Is there a cost with Be Real?
No, it's free.
Okay. A lot of advertisement. Like, what is the downside to Be Real?
To me, there's no downside to it. The downside to me is just being late to a platform. So I feel like the earlier, the better.
Right. And I only ask you those questions because I think that's important. Like, there's so many apps that we ought to pay for. And if you said yes, I would like to know, can you try before you buy it? So we know that's not a question, but there aren't a lot of ads too. So that tells me that as a business, I can possibly use Be Real and be productive. So now for those that have just taken in the information for Be Real, now we understand that we have to download it, right? This is one of those, you have to download it to see if you even like it. If you find it's not worth it, what do? We delete. But a great suggestion to help us to really start to understand what tools are out here for us. Jasmine, thank you so very much. I'm not familiar with Be Real, but I will be after this call. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no worries.
And is there anyone else that have another idea that we can use? In addition to Be Real, I know TikTok was on there. I think a lot of us have really come to the use of TikTok. I have one coworker, she has 2 million followers. I'm like, wow, how did she do that? But she did. So thank you. So as we move forward, if you think of something another way, please add it in the chat. This chat is something you can save. It's something you can go back in, scroll up, scroll down, and just get some of this valuable information that we have.
Before we move on, Lisa, I noticed that Angel has had her hand raised for quite a bit of time. Angel.
Oh, I can't see that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that
Please
was,
forgive me.
no, that was totally an error. I apologize. I'm sorry, Jenny.
No worries. I was just
Okay.
I wanted to make sure we weren't leaving you hanging.
No, I appreciate it though. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
I'm sorry. I don't have that view, so I do apologize. Is there anyone else with their hand raised that I missed?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. All righty. So thank you for participating, Jasmine, in the chat, because that's how we learn, right? When we share some of this information and, each one teach one. I always believe is, once you learn and you earn, return, right? That's that golden rule, return it, because the more you return, the more you receive. So let's move on to part 4. Now in slide 4, we're going to analyze and some adjusting. There's some polls. We're going to learn about learning culture, lots of homework in section 4. Every section has its own little homework, right? So let's move forward. I want to make sure I respect your time. And now I'm going to go a little bit faster because I really believe we got the meat and potatoes, and some of this stuff is very familiar to many of you, but we want to make sure that you make your digital marketing tools that offer a wealth of information. You want to make sure that you know what's important to your customers and shift if you need to shift. So as we move forward, I would love for you to remember these acronyms. The word SMART, the acronyms to the word SMART, I think will really help you, and always have that up front, SMART. And say to yourself, is my website SMART? What is SMART? Is it specific? Is it measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound? And if you wake up with that, well, not wake up, but if you address your website with having that SMART in mind, you're going to be very, very successful. This is how you attract. And I think in your workbook, I recall, yes, page 30. of your workbook, it breaks down what is it to be specific, what is it to be measurable, achievable. Read page 30 in your workbook. It really outlines the SMART acronym. Okay, so let's move on. We want to look at establishing metrics, right? Your Google Analytics, email analytics, social media. These are the things that's going to go back and talk to you about how do I measure. That too is on page 31 and 32 of your workbook. So this tells you this workbook, man, oh man, lots of golden nuggets in here. So please make sure if you haven't downloaded, I'll say it a zillion times, let us know. We want to make sure to get this workbook in your hands, because if you showed up today, this is worth you taking the time to have this workbook as a reference. And if you don't need any of this, download it for someone else that's struggling out there. This is that information, what I call low-hanging fruit. Grab it and receive it and be able to share it. Okay, so as we move on, let's think of a few other kind of marketing data. You know, you can have an online survey within your business, a net promoter score, you know, your ROI, that's your return on investments or your return on impact, depending on, you know, what you want to know from these surveys. But you can tell whether your marketing efforts are delivering what you want to drive the revenue, drive the awareness, drive the impact. So always look at your ROIs as well. And as we move to the next slide with a poll, I really like to know this, like help me to understand who we're talking to so that we can best service you. But how often do you review your marketing data? Is it something you do daily? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Because if you are daily, maybe you have some best practices. If you're monthly or occasionally, you may have some best practices. And if you're never, hopefully we can move you in a direction of at least monthly or occasionally, because it is where the world has moved to. And if you don't believe anything else, COVID has really made us all comfortable with add to cart, click and buy. And because we're buying on our credit card, we really aren't seeing that transactional, that, you know, cash and carry transaction that we were so used to. And I'm not running up credit card debt. Everything is cash and carry. I don't want people to have credit card debt, but the reality is we've gotten very comfortable in it. So as we close the poll, let's see where we stand on that. Daily, wow, weekly, monthly, occasionally, and if you can share some best practice. Very happy there was we didn't have a never, so that makes me really happy. But yeah, if you can share some best practices, but let's close out the poll and let's share some of those best practices. Okay, so as we move on, I want to encourage you. A learning culture is essential. Don't ignore your marketing data. Your marketing data is easy to ignore, and I'm going to encourage you to please, please, please do not ignore it. Your approach needs to be intentional. It needs to be on time, and you have to make sure that you're measuring your results. Okay. Okay, and how we build that learning culture, we're going to quickly run through this because I know we're coming up on time. You want to collect data, right? You want to maintain a clean and useful database so you know what's working, what's not. Create a dashboard where you can see all of your metrics. You want to regularly share what you've learned and encourage and experiment. You have to experiment. You have to know that A/B testing, I believe that's what it was called when we were in school, the A/B testing, which is coming up next. And that's when you take two variables on the next slide, where you have a basic idea and create two different marketing pieces, right? And this is how you're going to find out what's working for you. And that can even be as easy as an email. Same information, but two different subject lines, and see which one gets open most, right? Or post two of the same pictures one on Facebook, one on Instagram, see where you're getting your hits. But you have to have an A/B testing just so you can find out where your strengths are. And as we move on, you know, again, there's that homework on in your workbook on page 36 and 37, you know, and that's going to help you where you don't have to have an expensive software, but you're able to kind of look in and create a dashboard for your reference. As we move forward, now you see I'm speeding, right? Because we're gonna have a few minutes left. As we come to the close, the last section is owning your digital space. Here's where I'd love for us to open up in the next 13 minutes, and we'll talk a little bit about, you know, if there's anything that we didn't cover, you would have liked us to cover, how we can do better to deliver this material, this content to you. Again, on your workbook on page 38 and 39, That's where we'll be able to go in and kind of own your digital space, kind of think about your branding. How would you describe your brand? Pay attention to these work pages. You know, I know this workbook is like 40 pages long, but most of it is that interaction to where you can really see who are you and how are you showing up. Take the time to invest in yourself. If not today, throughout the week, set a time, set a goal and say, you know what, over the next 10 days, I'm going to make sure I complete this book, and I'm going to go back and revisit and make sure that what I wrote 10 days ago in 10 more days, there's that A/B, right? Or some kind of testing just to see, is it valid today? Is this what I want to keep? Do I want to make some changes? Do I need to pivot? So utilize this material. It's free to you. And I think when you have this kind of power, this kind of tool in your tool belt, this is when you know you're bringing the right tools to make sure that you're successful. And as we go on, you know, now is the time to claim your space online. Review your progress. Can you see a way to take your marketing to the next level? That is what this workshop was about today. The next slide is just the work pages. I'd love for you to talk to us about what's the first thing you're planning on doing in your digital marketing to raise your game. If nothing, that's fine, but any one thing, share, because that may be the one thing that I didn't think about. I'm like, wow, thank you for sharing that. Because guess what? That is something that I may want to do. So if you find that you want to share, please share. Felix, feel free to add in any questions or comments. I look forward to hearing from you. And with that, you know, as we come to a close, I open up also for questions. I want to say thank you for being here today. My QR code is there if you want to scan. There's a survey if you'd like to take the survey. My information to contact me is there as well. I wish I could say I'm quick with getting back to you. That is sometimes a little challenging because we're doing so many presentations and we're here, we're there. A lot of our colleagues, there was one person that was on the call last week, and I'm still trying to connect her to one of my partners in New York, who went on vacation and I didn't know was on vacation. I tell you all this story because I want to share with you that we are here for you. And it may not be that microwave minute that we get back to you, but you are important. Brain Trust has made this important. They've collaborated with the material we have because you matter. And if we can help to drive your business and help you on your path, I want to let you know we are here for you. So thank you. And I will open the floor for questions in the next 10 minutes that we have together.
Lisa, thank you so much for this fantastic information. Everyone, I went ahead and turned on your ability to talk. If you want to ask questions directly of our expert, Lisa, I can share that we were talking in chat a little bit about who's creating their own content and who has a team. And it looks like most of the founders on the call are actually creating their own content, or maybe working with someone, you know, on their team to create parts of the content, but they're actually pushing publish, which is really fascinating. I know it's challenging to be able to like come up with that social content on a regular basis. So I don't know if anyone here has any insights that they'd like to share about their process about creating social. And then the other thing that we were talking about in chat was talking about, you know, what techniques have been most successful for email acquisition and what is something they want to try but haven't tried yet. And I know that Julie called out that she wants to build an app for her store. She just hasn't done it yet. So
I like that idea.
yeah. And then, you know, also being able to use SMS, text marketing, and, you know, if you have any insights about, you know, what the best way is that our founders could, you know, kind of dip their toes into those worlds, that would be great.
Yeah. Sharing is caring. You know, that's an old rule, right? We've all heard sharing is caring. And it really is. It says, I care about my fellow sister, founder, business owner, and I want to see you be successful, because the more success you have, the more success we all have. You know, we're in this together. So please share. I know sometimes we may be shy to share, but I think you may have that golden answer or that golden question. You may have that one piece of information that can actually benefit us all. You know, I shared the story about my niece with Instagram. Oh, I'm on it now. I know when to post and when not to, right? And I'm not even a business, but it was that little piece that she shared. Flex and Fly is here. Hi. I see her hand just went up. Am I right?
You are right. You want to come off
Hi.
mute?
How are you? And thank you for joining. Hi.
I'm
You,
always ready.
you caught me mid-sentence. I saw a hand fly up. How are you? And thank you for joining. I know you were with us last time.
Yes, I love it. I've learned a lot, and I went ahead and put into a lot of I put into action a lot of the things that I learned last time. I have two questions. The first question is, how do we feel really about marketing, like text marketing? I personally hate it. And I feel like it's a decision to make, not as a small business owner, unless you're making a certain level of money. But I do believe that once my business gets into a different level, I would feel more comfortable doing it, especially since I don't necessarily offer sales. And I find that the ones that I am signed up for, they offer sales, and that's usually when I'm a little happy to get it. Because I like sales.
Right.
But because I personally don't offer sales at the moment, it makes me a little uncomfortable to have a text marketing. In addition to that, I know that they, most of them, I think you have to pay for. I'm not sure if there's any other ones that's free. So if you have any suggestions on that, I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
So that's the first question. You feel free to answer it. And then the other one, I would love to.
So before you move to the second question, I think Julie said Postscript is an amazing free SMS marketing platform if you're on Shopify. So there's one, and maybe a few more will come in. But I have a question before you move to the second question. You said you hate text marketing. Why do you hate text marketing? Because that's a strong word. What is it about it that really drives you bananas?
I don't like anyone having my personal number
Okay.
to send me options to buy things for them. It's like someone knocking on my door personally and asking me to buy something. And I'm just naturally very private person. And so it feels invasive rather than like, etc. I feel like I'm more confident in the email marketing because I've built a relationship with my consumers in that way where they expect it of me, where the marketing just feels invasive and like buy from me, you know?
Right. So here's what I'll share with you, just for myself. Oh wait, Julie added more. She said, I started getting a lot more conversations with it than emails. All you have to do is turn it on and have 5 flow pre-configured or your abandoned, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read here, abandoned card welcome sequence. Check out the chat. Julie's given us some really good information. I thought it was crazy. Anyone would want to get text from a company. So I was really surprised by the results when I tried it. So here's what I'll share with in regards to me as a consumer. There's some text messages that I really like because I could just hit the link and go straight to their site. But I think some have taken an abuse to the text message to where they're okay with texting me at 6 a.m, 4 a.m, not being considerate of the time zone. And it's not that they're being rude, but maybe they don't understand that I'm on the West Coast, so I'm 3 hours behind. So I think you have to know your market, you have to know your customers and know, and you can, have a survey. Would you like to receive text messages in the future? And if you find that you're getting a lot of stops, that means that, those people are deciding with Flex and Fly. They don't want it. Leave me alone. Send me emails. But you have to try it in order to know who's who and who likes what. There's advantages and there's disadvantages. For me, the ones that I frequently shop at, I love that I could click and it goes right to it. The ones that I don't, they drive me bananas. I'm like, why are you every day I'm getting a text from you? That's not necessary. So what do? I hit stop. And you had a part 2 question.
I did. Thank you so much.
Wait, before you do that, Jennifer, this is very funny. Jennifer Archie says, I agree about text messages marketing, but interestingly, I've heard more for text marketing. She said, I don't know, but I love it because that is, I'm right there with you. And I think it's just because of the world that we moved into, but That is true. I can, yeah, me too. Thank you, Jennifer.
My second question was the fact that, so my company is currently in the process of launching our very first fall campaign that's coming out early Q4. And we've been semi-offering different versions of like marketing the campaign, and people have been loving it, et cetera, and the way that we've been doing it. But the actual date of it coming out is October 1st. One of the things that I choose to do, the actual campaign though, will always go to my email list first. So anything that I do before it hits on social media, we offer it to the email list first, because obviously we don't own social media and I don't care about it in that form because I don't trust them. But my email list, I have built a relationship with them where I know that they will reply and come back, etc. I'm really interested in entering the digital ad space.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, it's not that I'm scared of that space. I just know it's gonna cost.
Yep.
And I just wanted to know, how do we go about finding the best way to pursue digital ads when you're used to getting organic buyers?
Right. And again, that's going to be the cost to market, right? Each platform is going to have a different price. I'm going to leave it to the participants to maybe chime in. Maybe we can help give some advice. The other thing I want to share with you, and I always say this at the beginning, and I missed that opportunity. There's 12 of us currently participating. 2 of us we know. One is Jenny, myself. So let's take away those. And then we have 10. So we have 10 businesses in the room. In the chat, you should put the one product that you do best. What's your hero product? Because you may be the product that I'm looking for. This is, to me, this time here is not only networking, but this is free brand awareness. So for example, Flex and Fly. I met Flex and Fly. I think that she had such a great idea when it came to pivoting. Her business is one thing, but she added on something else that complemented traveling. It complemented something that I think is very useful for many women and men too. I guess that can go both ways, but she learned to pivot. If you see her website, well, I'm sorry, if you just see her name and it's Flex and Fly, you wouldn't know that she had additional products. But here's that opportunity that you can put that product in the chat to where now I know what Flex and Fly does. I know with Jennifer, with Angel, I know what Dr. King, I know what your product is. Don't lose this opportunity to tell the 11 of us what you do, and that may be the one thing that I need. So add it in the chat. And in the meantime, if someone can offer advice on digital ad space, please share that. It's not my area of expertise. Look at that, a bag, right? And it is, and I kid you not, go to the website. It is an amazing concept that she came up with. And that is not what her business was about. But she pivoted, she found another way, and maybe that helped you to say, yeah, I may do this, but maybe I want to incorporate something. But it kind of went right along with what she's doing. She didn't stray too far away. She's kind of right there where she needs to be, but she enhanced her services. So I encourage you to please add it to the chat.
On the digital marketing, I can say that, especially if you're starting with small budgets and you know where your consumers are, this is a great opportunity to do some A/B testing. And I know on Facebook and Instagram, it's possible to, dive in with $5 a day. And so here's where you're going to be really looking at your audience targeting and really trying to find those consumers and just test out messaging, test out some, location targeting that you're doing, and test out some different calls to action. Do you want them to go directly to the site to purchase a specific product? Do you want them to join your email list? You can do that for really low budgets. and just experiment and see if you can draw any conclusions. And I think, as Lisa was talking about, collecting that data and being able to really review and see how you're doing, give yourself a few weeks, try a few things and just put a little bit of budget behind it and try the platforms that you think are most likely to have the consumers that you're trying to reach. Because, although the algorithms keep changing and the way that the platforms function keeps changing, for me, what I've learned over the years is that email list is king, because anything you do on those social platforms is owned by those social platforms. So if you can bring those communities to your website, to your newsletter list, that is going to be gold plated. You absolutely want them on that email list, and potentially in the SMS list programs too, if you do want to be able to text them. And like everybody else here, I hate the texting, but I do buy stuff. So I don't know, there's some love-hate thing there, but just wanted to offer 2 cents.
Love-hate, right? Because I'm with Jennifer. I purchase more things than not. But yeah, there's that love-hate. And I think it's timing. I think it's the mood we're in. Like, okay, this text was relevant and maybe it wasn't. I'm so happy to see the sharing inside this chat. And the one thing I'd offer for you all is keep this information. If someone visits your website and they're from this class here, this cohort, not only thank them, because this is where you met them, but maybe offer a product discount or a sample, something to go over and above to show that, yes, we are a family. This Brain Trust is a family, and together we grow with one another.
Thank you so much for answering and for everyone offering in that. On that note, I would love for you guys to sign up for my email list, shameless plug, and feel free to check out.
That's how we do it. No, that's how we do it, and again, I think it's so funny, but it will be amazing if this group of women could kind of stay in contact with each other and share some best practices across, with one another and what's working for you. Help us to really take our place on this market. Only we have the power to do that, but we do it together. Thank you, Dr. King. I'm not Brain Trust, but thank you, because I really believe in all the work that Brain Trust is doing. I really do like them. So again, we're at the top. That does conclude our time together. If you have any questions or concerns that you'd like for me to address, and maybe you didn't feel comfortable answering the group, I'm going to add my email. Very easy email, but it's lisa.stevens@chase.com. I'm here to help support you in your journey. I want to see each and every one of you be as successful as you can. The tools that we bring you today, again, as I started, some of you may be novice, in the middle, some may be experts, but I hope you were able to gain something from today that, if not for you, take it to your neighbor, your business owner, relative, and share with them how they too can grow in this digital space.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. I will follow up an email with a link to the replay, and I will also send out the presentation slides that Lisa presented today, as well as the workbook again. I did send those an email just before the session, so but I will send those out again just to make sure everyone has them. And if anyone has any questions about this program or any of the content that we covered today, please reach out. The other thing is that as you exit the Zoom, you will see a survey from Brain Trust asking about the session and asking if there are other things that you'd like us to cover or things that you'd like to learn about more in depth. So please take a couple of minutes. It should take no more than a minute or two. And then Lisa also has this QR code for a survey on her side as well. So thank you for your feedback. This is how it makes it better for all of us and helps us give you exactly what you need in this program. Thank you again, Lisa, for everything.
Thank you. I really enjoy my time with you. This is where my passion and purpose just kind of like lock arms and say, we got this. So with that, I wish you all a very happy and peaceful week. Work smarter, not harder. And I hope to see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.